David Bay, Director of Cutting Edge Ministries and the creator of the documentary Riddles in Stone. I want to thank you for being our guest today on The Real News, Mr. Bay, and I wanted to tell you I've watched your film several times, and it is an excellent account of our history with regards to Freemasonry and the secret architecture that abounds in Washington. To begin with today, I'd just like to give you the opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to making such an eye-opening documentary film.
Well, back in 1984, I realized, I became aware that in the realm of the occult there exists a plan, a detailed plan, to bring about a global, global government, a global religion, and a global economy, and after that is established, to stage a Masonic Christ onto the world scene. The Bible will call him Antichrist. And this plan was was created by carried out by the secret societies throughout the world, primarily Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism, and later on, in the last part of the 20th century, Skull and Bones, and it fulfilled Bible prophecy exactly. So I began to study it, and Cutting Edge was the result of that, and I discovered. I actually started in 1991 with a radio program, and then disbanded that because of ill health a couple of years later. But in 1996, I went on. I took everything I had onto the internet, and today we have 1,500 articles. We put out a newsletter every week and a couple of news alerts, and what we do is we show people through the daily news how they can see that we're being manipulated into this world system. And so when studying all this, I realized that the founding of America was a story of the secret societies and primarily Freemasonry. And so I had always wanted to tell this story, and finally in March of 2005 we began production on the New Atlantis, and then in the next year we began production on Riddles and Stone. So it's been, these two videos have been kind of the pet project of my life. I've always wanted to tell the story because it's not being told.
Well, your website, cuttingedge.org, is an excellent website for information, and one of the things I wanted to get you to comment on, this will come as a shock to a lot of our listeners, but isn't it a fact that the streets of D.C. are laid out in the form of a pentagram, a satanic symbol, and it's easy for anyone to check it out and find out that that's the truth?
Absolutely. It's an inverted pentagram, and of course the inverted pentagram is called the Goat's Head of Mendes. And it's next to the only symbol that's more evil than that is the hexagram, and so it's it's a very evil symbol. But in Freemasonry, in Satanism, the inverted pentagram is a picture of the or is a symbol of the perfected man, and that's a man is made perfected in Freemasonry. By going through the rituals of Masonry, going up to the 32nd, 33rd degree, they become a perfected man. So that's the symbol of a perfected man. But not only that, but the most that's not even the most important symbol. The most important symbol is the right angled triangle. Because the occult stipulates that, or has symbolized the birth of the divine child, which is their Antichrist, through the right angle triangle. And there's two of them in Washington D.C. There's the Law Enfant triangle, and then there's the Federal triangle. And both of them symbolize the birth of the Masonic Christ, or the birth of Antichrist. So that is the most important message of all the street layouts of Washington D.C. is that the secret societies founded the American government for the purpose of leading the world into a global government, economy, and religion, and then staging the Masonic Christ. That's why you don't see Christian symbols in Washington D.C. at all. They're all pagan, all Babylonian or Egyptian or Chaldean. There's Baal everywhere, Baal symbols, Baal busts. There's not one smack of Christianity, and the reason for that is that while America was culturally founded on Christian principles, the government was founded according to a secret society agenda, and that is that's just a fact. If you really wanted, if you really had an open mind, you would realize that something is amiss with the story that the American government was founded on Christian values when you can't find one blessed Christian symbol in Washington, D.C. Not one.
Mr. Barr, this is Brian. Again, it's an honor to have you here with us today. I would like to take this opportunity, sir, to clarify something for our listeners. A few months ago, we had Chuck Baldwin on the program, and I asked him about some of the symbolism around Washington, D.C., in particular the Statue of Freedom on top of the U.S. Capitol building, which, of course, I referred to as the god of the underworld, goddess of the underworld. Could you please tell us a little bit about this statue?
Well, it is the goddess. It's it's a pagan goddess with 12 stars around her, around her head. But the goddess, the purpose of the goddess in the pagan story is that the goddess will have physical intimacy with the god, and out of that intimacy comes the divine child. So you've got various goddess symbols throughout Washington, D.C., including the lady on top of the Capitol building. But it all relates back to the goddess who is going to have relations with the god and produce a divine child. Now, in the right-angled triangle, the vertical line represents the god. In this case, it's the god Baal, and that is 15th Street in the Federal Triangle. The horizontal line is represented by Constitution Avenue. That's the female goddess. In this case, it's Sabel, the corn goddess. And then the hypotenuse, which is Pennsylvania Avenue, represents the divine child, or Antichrist. And so all the goddess symbols go back to that right-angled triangle where the goddess actually is impregnated and produces the divine child.
Could you comment on the significance of the Washington Monument, it being an obelisk, and the significance of it being 555 feet tall?
Well, the obelisk is the erect sexual organ of Baal, the god Baal, and in the Old Testament, in the Amplified Bible commentary, you see several instances where God either condemns the obelisk. In the King James, it's called a pillar. He either condemns the obelisk or he orders a righteous king from Israel to destroy it. And God hates the obelisk. I mean, it is a filthy sexual organ, and it has no basis of being, being a symbol of any nation's capital. But Freemasons really revere the obelisk. If you go throughout this country and you look at grave sites, you can spot the Masonic grave sites because they're, you know, many of them are obelisks.